Rome did not just build roads, aqueducts, temples, and armies. It also built one of the most disturbing entertainment machines in history. A machine where blood became spectacle, suffering became public theater, and death became something people watched while eating snacks and cheering from stone seats. To modern eyes, it feels unreal. How could thousands of people gather in an arena to watch men kill each other? How could families sit together while animals tore into prisoners? How could an empire so advanced in law, engineering, and politics also treat human death like a show? But that is exactly what made Rome so powerful and so terrifying. The Romans understood something dark about crowds. If you give people drama, danger, heroes, villains, and blood, they will keep watching. And Rome turned that instinct into an empire-wide industry. The story did not begin as simple entertainment. Gladiator fights may have started as funeral rituals, where blood was offered to honor the dead. Over time, these small ceremonies grew bigger, louder, and more political. Wealthy men realized that if they paid for violent games, the people remembered their names. A public fight was not just a show. It was advertising. It was power. It was a way to say, "Look how rich I am. Look what I can give you." Soon, the games became part of Roman public life. Politicians sponsored them. Emperors expanded them. Crowds expected them. What began near graves ended inside massive arenas, with the Colosseum becoming the most famous stage of all. And the Colosseum was not just a building, it was a machine built for control. Its entrances moved huge crowds quickly. Its seating showed social rank. Senators sat close. Ordinary citizens sat higher. Women, the poor, and enslaved people were pushed even farther away. Even while watching death, Rome reminded everyone where they belonged. The shows often began with animal hunts, called venations. These were not ordinary hunts. Rome brought animals from across its empire: lions, leopards, bears, elephants, bulls, and other creatures that most citizens would never see in daily life. To the crowd, these animals were living trophies. Every beast in the arena was proof that Rome ruled distant lands. Then came the violence. Hunters fought animals. Animals fought each other. Sometimes prisoners were placed into staged scenes where the ending was already decided. The crowd saw not just death, but empire itself. Rome was saying, "We conquered the world, and now even its wildest creatures perform for us." After the animal shows came executions. These were often placed around midday, when some spectators left for food, but many stayed. Condemned criminals could be killed in ways designed to match their crimes or recreate mythological scenes. This was not private punishment. It was public messaging. Rome wanted people to see what happened when someone challenged order. The arena turned law into theater. A criminal did not just disappear into a prison, he became an example. His death warned the crowd, "Obey, or this could be you." Then came the main event: gladiators. Gladiators were not always random men thrown into chaos. Many were trained fighters, some were enslaved, some were prisoners of war, some were criminals. A few even volunteered, chasing money, fame, or survival. They trained in schools, learned weapon styles, built strength, and fought under strict rules. That is what made gladiator combat so gripping. It was not just slaughter, it was performance mixed with real danger. Different fighter types had different weapons. A heavily armed Murmillo might face a faster Retiarius with a net and trident. The crowd understood the matchups. They had favorites. They followed reputations. A skilled gladiator could become famous, admired, even desired. But fame did not make him free. A gladiator's body belonged to the arena. His life could depend on skill, luck, the sponsor of the games, and the mood of the crowd. One mistake could end everything. The crowd was not silent. They shouted, argued, cheered, booed, and judged. They were part of the show. When a fighter went down, the moment became electric. Should he live? Should he die? The final decision often belonged to the person sponsoring the games, especially the emperor, but the crowd's reaction mattered. Mercy could make the sponsor look generous. Death could make him look strong. This is where Rome turned killing into psychology. The people were not just watching power, they felt involved in it. For a few seconds, ordinary citizens could believe their voices mattered. They could help decide a man's fate. That feeling was addictive. Emperors understood this very well. The games were not only about entertainment, they were politics in blood. Give the people grain, give them spectacle, keep them distracted, keep them loyal, keep them proud of Rome. A generous emperor could win love by staging huge games. A weak emperor could use the arena to repair his image. A cruel emperor could use it to show fear. The arena became a stage where rulers performed strength. Every dead animal, every defeated prisoner, every gladiator fight sent the same message. Rome controls life and death. But there was also a strange contradiction. Romans admired courage, discipline, and honor. Gladiators, even though many came from the lowest levels of society, could represent those values better than many free men. A gladiator who faced death without panic could earn respect from the same society that forced him into danger. That is what makes the whole system so unsettling. Rome could degrade a man and admire him at the same time. It could treat him like property, then cheer him like a hero. It could call the arena justice, entertainment, religion, politics, and tradition all at once. And behind the spectacle was a massive hidden workforce. The audience saw the shining armor, the roaring animals, the dramatic entrances. They did not see the handlers, cleaners, trainers, guards, builders, doctors, cooks, and enslaved workers who made the games possible. The arena needed constant preparation. Sand had to be replaced. Weapons had to be checked. Cages had to be secured. Bodies had to be removed. Injured fighters had to be carried away. The Colosseum looked glorious from the outside, but underneath, it worked like a backstage factory for violence. The most disturbing part is that many Romans did not see the games as evil. They saw them as normal. They saw them as tradition. They saw them as proof of Roman greatness. Children grew up with these spectacles. Adults discussed fighters like sports stars. Crowds treated death as something thrilling, familiar, and public. That does not mean every Roman loved the games. Some writers criticized the cruelty. Some were disturbed by the bloodlust of the crowd. But the system was too popular, too political, and too deeply connected to Roman identity to vanish quickly. Over time, as the empire changed and Christianity grew stronger, gladiator games became harder to justify. The old appetite did not disappear overnight, but the meaning of public violence began to shift. Eventually, the gladiator combats faded. The great arenas remained, but the world that filled them with blood slowly collapsed. Still, the legacy remains uncomfortable. Rome reminds us that entertainment is never just entertainment. It can reveal what a society values, what it excuses, and what it teaches people to enjoy. The Romans turned death into a show because it served many purposes at once. It honored tradition. It displayed wealth. It punished criminals. It trained public obedience. It celebrated conquest. It gave the poor a distraction and the powerful a stage. And that is why the arena was so much more than a place of violence. It was Rome in miniature, organized, brutal, brilliant, theatrical, and obsessed with control. The Colosseum was not just where people died. It was where Rome showed the world exactly what kind of empire it was. And that is the dark truth of Rome's greatest spectacle. The Colosseum was not just a place of games. It was a stage where power, fear, punishment, and entertainment all came together. Rome turned death into a public show, and the crowd called it glory. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to like and subscribe for more dark history from the ancient world.